Most players lose games without blundering. They improve pieces, they calculate, they wait, and still nothing happens. Do you think why? Because they have no pawn levels, and in chess, no pawn lever is equal to no plan. Today, I will prove you with this master game, and you will understand what I'm telling. So, 250 years ago, there was a saying that pawns are the souls of life, but this is not the psychology and it's the command. So let's see how the pawns are very important in chess game, and let's see what the major part the pawns are doing. So let's see the example game. Today we are going to see a game right here. White plays the move d4 followed by knight f6, c4, g6, f3, knight c6, d5, which attacks the c6 knight, knight to e5, e4. He makes a solid center with these pawns, right? He makes a solid center. If he plays b3, then it's like a pawn chain, right? It makes pretty strong. But the dark squares inside the pawns are somewhat weak. Let's see what the black is going to do. Black play the move d6, knight c3, developing move, bishop g7, f4. Yeah, he now attacks the e5 knight. The knight can go to d7 and it can't be played to c4 or c6, and d3 is covered, so f3 is unplayable. Can go to g4, but after h3 the knight again reroute to h6, which is not a good place, right? So I think he goes to d7, knight h3. He's have a plan to bring to f2 and d3, right? He's thinking that to keep the two knights on the center of the board. So black play the move castles, bishop e2, knight c5, knight f2. Yeah, he thinks to bring the knight to d3, right? Why he plays the move, there is an important thing, because by playing knight c5 he attacks the e4, right? He attacks the e4 two times and attacks the knight on h3, right? This move does a lot of things. So here white need to save this knight and also save this pawn. So he play the move knight f2, so only it's called the great move, right? Black play the move e6, right? He opens the position, castles, e takes d5, c takes d5, c6. Yeah, in this game we are seeing that many pawn breaks, right? Last move black break the pawn structure with e6, now by c6, right? D takes c6, b takes c6. Yeah, this two pawns is now kind of isolated, and which is connected also, right? And this here pawn is completely isolated. So let's see how white tackle it, right? Bishop f3, just slowly developing. Queen e7. It's not great move, but it's kind of a good move, right? Bishop e3 attacking the c5 knight, right? Then black continue with d5. Yeah, here he breaks the center with d5, attacks the e4. So white can play the move e5, right? He plays the move e5, right? He attacks the knight on f6. So the knight can now go back to d7, right? Or e8. d7 is a nice square. Yeah, knight d7, and here white play the move, right? Which is the important point in this game, because today we learning the pawn breaks or the pawn levels, right? We need to use the pawn. So in this position we can think that white can continue the game with knight d3 or bishop d4, or you can simply pick queen c2, rook c1 and rook d1, right? Or you can even play the move king h1, right? There are so many ideas, right? Rook e1 also can be played, right? Or this knight can be bring to e2 also. So there are so many ideas, right? Knight e2 can be also played and go to d4. But here white uses his pawns, right? This is the important concept in this video. You need to use the pawns, right? These pawns need to be used. So we can't play f5, right? We can't play e6. So these two pawns are typically a good position, right? So he's using this pawn. Yeah, it's b4. He plays the move b4 and attacks the c5 knight. Knight goes back to the center, and again he plays the move b5. He uses his pawn, right? He uses pawn and demonstrate or demolish his pawn structure, right? So if he takes, then knight takes d5, which is a great position for white, because queen e8 will be played and knight e4. Suddenly these pieces are become very active. The queen can go to b3 and he can bring his rooks. So that move, so c takes b5 is completely worse for black. So here black continued with the tactical move. Yeah, knight b6, which is a great move. Why? Because if you take this pawn, right, here black has another great move. Can you find it? Yeah, it's d4. He attacks the c3 and e3, right? Yeah, you have two support to attack this pawn and they have only one support. You take this pawn, it's also a great move. Now he can't take it, right? If he takes that, he loses a pawn and even two pawn, because the c6 pawn is already gone. So he play the move rook d8, which is a great move. See, there's a sequence of great moves, like 5 to 6 great moves in a row. So he attacks the d4 bishop, right? It's a pin, so we need to save it. So we play the another great move, knight b5, just supporting this, right? Here black play the another great move. Can you find it? If you think here a6 works, then you are wrong. Knight d6, yeah, simply winning, because this knight is an octopus knight which controls all the 8 squares which belongs to black, right? It can come to c4, which is controlled by black also. The e4 juicy square also controlled by this octopus knight. So 8 squares are completely with this d6 knight, right? Then this knight also can jump to e4. This bishop is active now. He can play the move c7. So there are n number of possibilities here. So a6 is a black bad move, right? Black's bad move. Now black play the another great move, which is bishop a6, right? He just pins the knight with the rook. So let's see now what happens, right? It makes a curiosity how white going to save this bishop, right? No, he does not save that bishop. He sacrifices the rook by playing knight d6, which is a brilliant move, because he just sacrifices his rook with this bishop to control the d6 and c6, right? His knight on d6 is completely octopus knight. It occupies the important square, right? And black continue with the other great moves also, right? Bishop takes f1 and king takes f1, right? It's a important position to note here, right? While white using this pawn to going to b4, b5 and c6, he uses his pawn and make this pawn as a passed pawn, right? In next moves, if some moves like uh, knight c4, if black plays, you can even play the move c7, right? This rook is gone. Your exchange can be get done back, right? You can take back, or you can just pin the knight with the queen, right? So there are n number of possibilities. The other great move, right? I have great moves in the row. So this is the position you need to know. He uses his pawn and bring it to c6. So today video we are learned that you use the pawn in the game, and pawns are the souls of chess. So today we learned that use the pawn is the rule number one to keep in mind to play chess better. So that's all. So subscribe to Checkmate City for more videos.